Hey guys, welcome back. Today is September the, what is today? September the 19th, 2021, and let me show you what has failed on the Chevy. This is an 89 Chevy K1500, and I want to show you guys, look at here, can't turn the key back. So what had happened was, I went to the store and couldn't shut the truck off. Could not shut the truck. Okay, there we go. So I'm only gonna do this one more time for you guys because there's gonna be some point where it's not gonna be able to turn. So this, I'm not gonna say this is a common problem with Chevy trucks, Chevy vehicles with this kind of lock cylinder. It does happen. So if you ever get to the point, so I just went in and started it like normal, and when I went to shut it off, it will not, the lock cylinder will not rotate back. So don't panic if that happens, okay? What you're gonna have to do is, you're gonna have to really vibrate and jiggle the, and I'm not putting much pressure on this at all, jiggle the tumbler back and forth a little bit. And it has nothing to do with the steering wheel or the gear shift column or anything, because it's an internal problem. So you see it's taken me longer and longer every time to get this to go back to the off position. Watch me say this is the last time I'm going to do it, and it just fails. Don't get mad if this happens to you. This is absolutely the last time I will ever turn this until we put the new lock in here. Okay. So you can see how it progressively gets worse and worse and worse. I don't know what's actually failed in here. It doesn't really matter. It has failed. So to take this style of column apart, it's not too difficult. It does require just a couple of specialized tools, which I'm going to show you. So basically I have the truck in the garage where it's not in the way of anything, and I'm just going to show you how to do this step by step. Now I do have a video that I replaced the horn button inside there and the blinker stalk lever controller and the cam, the blinker cam and everything in there. So we won't really go over that. I'm gonna try, and the other video was really shaky, so I'm gonna try to just have this camera sitting here. And if you want details this way, then you can go back and look at that other video. So, yep. So let me make sure that the shot is going to be half decent, and I will show you how to get this out and how to replace it properly. All right, so I'm going to do a couple of shots over here, and then we'll do some other shots on the other side. So obviously the first thing you want to do is remove this, the horn button, as we call it. On most trucks, it should just lift up just like that. There's going to be a wire in here, and it clips to this right here, and here's the wire. You want to be very careful with that wire. Down here, you will see a large nut, and we're going to take that nut loose. Again, I don't want the camera angles to be all funky and weird, so just go back and search my channel for how to replace the horn button and the blinker, and you will see a shot this way of that. But we're going to, I'm going to get my impact wrench, and we're going to take this off. You don't have to use an impact wrench. You can just use a 1/2-inch breaker bar, but I believe, I'll tell you what size this is in just a minute. All right, so this is 13/16. And I've got like a 4-inch extension on here. Make sure we're on loosen. Okay. Take that nut off. And okay, very good. Now there are 2 holes down here. This won't just pop off. You have to use a steering wheel puller, which I used in the last video, and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I have this is the Lyle 45,000 steering wheel puller. So I've got the 2 bolts into the bolts in the steering wheel, and I'm just going to hold this and turn this with a 14 millimeter, and it comes off that easy. It's not on there very tight. You don't need a lot of force, but you do need it. Please don't try to do this with a hammer or some other gangster way. You do need this tool. It's not expensive. You can rent these from AutoZone or Advanced Auto Parts, Pep Boys probably. But use it, please. All right, now I'm going to be very careful with this. I'm going to pull this wheel off. It's probably going to beep when I pull this through. All right, so we'll set the wheel aside. This right here has to go all the way in like that. That's how this clips, like that. It looks like it may be a little suspect. All right, well anyway, we'll put that aside. Now, in order to get this plate off right here, you have to compress this right here. And there's a special tool that's required to do that. Do not, I mean, if you want to try to compress this gigantic spring, there's a clip that's got to pop out. I'm going to show you a really inexpensive tool that's designed to do this. All right, this is the Powerbilt 648466. This is designed to remove the locking steering plate on General Motors vehicles. So basically, this part just screws on like that. So if you use this tool, very easy. So that's it. So now what I have to do is I've got to take a small screwdriver and take that little clip out. Okay, so that's there. I'm just going to hold this and loosen this thumb screw back up. Okay, now we got the clip off. That's just the C-clip. Then we're going to take this plate off very gently. Now this plate only goes on one way. You'll see there's a large flat area that corresponds to the hole there. This slides off very gently. And the spring comes out. And then we will take off this screw. We'll take off this one and this one. Okay. Oh, you got to take this off too. Forgot about that. So you can pull this out a little bit. There we go. All right, so there's a screw right here. It's a T20. see, how does that come out? Okay, there's that little thing that, and I'm gonna take this off the tripod and show you guys this in just a minute. So actually, let me do that now. All right, so let me show you what everything looks like. Sorry. All right, so this thing was right in there like that, okay? And then of course this was right like that, and there's 1, 2, 3 holes for the screws. So this just pulls out. There's a little piece of sheet metal right there, and then this is the T20. This should just slide right out. All right, well, let me do some poking around here and see if I can figure out why this thing has failed. All right, so we are back a couple of days later, and I'm just gonna recap. This is the old lock cylinder, and it's a good thing I didn't try to start this again and take the key out, because I tried for over an hour. This key will not come out of this cylinder. So I may do a video about taking it apart and see what actually failed. It's probably the pen, but I got me a factory GM Delco ignition, and of course works perfectly fine. Whoops, it's upside down, so it actually goes that way. So that's how it's supposed to work. All right, so it's very simple. Let me put my reading glasses on here. It's a very simple process. It's just the reverse of what we did. Make sure that this slot right here faces down, and when you look inside the hole here, you're going to see a rod that's sticking out that will mesh with this right here. So just very gently. There we go. Now, there's a small little arrow on the lock cylinder that will line up with the arrow on the steering column. No problem. Whoops. There we go. Perfect. Perfectly smooth action. Just like so. This plastic piece right here will only be able to go up into the cylinder if this key is in the start position. The plastic piece here, the horn, gotta be really careful with this, the horn contacts. The edge of this here covers up the bolt. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to put this back in. Okay, I'm going to put this back in. We'll turn this. I'll get the plastic piece up in there. I'm going to put the bolt in. Get the bolt situated. Now, I've heard of people just breaking off the end of this, but I don't recommend that. So okay, so now this is not going to come out at all. I've got the plastic piece up in the lock cylinder. Now I can depress this. Okay, slide that in there, it clicks, and then I can turn this back off. Okay, very good. All right, and this is completely normal for this to have a little bit of play. It should be about 1/8 of an inch away. We will take our turn signal actuator and cam. Remember, there are 3 screws that we have to get arm for the directional signal, and put that in that little slot. And then we'll take the screw. It looks like it has a flange on it. Tighten that up. Next thing we need to do is we need to take this ring right here, and we'll fit like this under this. Put the spring right there. Okay, you're going to take the snap ring and put the snap ring down like that. I'm going to be using the metric end of this. There's a metric and a standard. Okay, put that on like that. Now there is a pen that comes with this tool, and the problem with it is that it doesn't line up when this thing's screwed on, so I use a screwdriver. It makes life so much easier if you guys will use this compression tool instead of trying to push on it with your hand or with your feet. I've seen all sorts of weirdness on YouTube. All right, so once the, let me see if I can get this light shine down there. All right, so once you can see the groove, we're going to take this screwdriver right here and work it over. Just release the pressure. Remove the tool. There we go. All right, so I've got the steering wheel situated back on. It's perfectly straight and level, just like it was before. And next thing you want to do is we want to take the nut and put that back on. Okay, we want to put the connector back on the actual button here. No problem. All right, so now so this job, I have no idea how much a mechanic would charge to do this job. If I wasn't filming, this would take maybe, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes from start to finish. That's it. These columns and this job, they're very, very easy to do. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope this helped, and I will see you on the next one.